from that. Here we go. Hey, everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you are doing great. Look, a lot of people have been asking me one question lately, and I came out to answer it, but ironically, I didn't expect to do an interview about it today. But with gold moving the way it is, with liquidity crisis going on around the world markets, I thought this would be a great time to do it. The Economic Ninja has made an investment in a gold company. That's right. It is called Galantas Gold, and I'm here with Mario. Mario, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Ninja, for having me on.
Perfect. And it's Mario Stefano is the correct pronunciation, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Cool. You've been
Italian.
running Galantas Gold for a while, and we're going to talk about the markets, but I just want to explain real quick to people the reason why I invested in Galantas Gold is because it went from an exploration company to a producing company, and you're going to see the last year's performance. You're going to understand why I went with it. Mario, let's get right into it. There's some problems in the market,
Great.
aren't there?
Oh, there's huge problems, and I think everyone's been seeing it being reflected in the stock market. You're seeing a squeeze in liquidity. You're starting to see silver going up today, which I think is probably just the beginning of the squeeze you're seeing in silver and precious metals in general,
Yes.
and all asset classes. I think when it comes to commodities, may see a nice squeeze coming up.
I completely agree. Now, what's really interesting today is obviously we're seeing the stock market trading up, right? Financial
Yeah,
crisis has been averted because it's October 3rd, the first trading day in October.
exactly.
It's crazy to think how they spin this. You know, September was the worst month on record since 2020 lows when the
Yeah.
everything closed down. But yeah, because it's a new month, everything's good. But historically, October's actually had problems with trading, correct?
That is correct, and you've seen some of the big crashes occur in October, and you're bang on.
Yeah.
The market is interesting in the sense that September was a really big down month, but nothing's changed from Friday to today
No.
to cause the stock market, and it's this volatility I think is actually going to cause significant problems. It's not a straight down line, it's not a straight up line, but it's down day after day, and that's I think going to cause some problems generally in the markets.
Totally. And you know what's interesting too, one thing that like you said that hasn't changed, but it's actually gotten worse. Oil's trading up today. And what they don't realize is Saudi Arabia just made an announcement, haven't even been able to do a video on it yet, that they're going to turn down the tap to try and
Yep.
boost prices. So that's going to add even more inflationary pressures on the public, correct?
Oh, for sure. And the Fed has been tightening because they're concerned about inflation. And some people think inflation has peaked. It may have peaked. I mean, we really don't know. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, whether it sits at 6, 7% instead of 9%, it doesn't really matter. The Fed has got to get inflation down,
Yep.
and they're going to try and squeeze the economic juice that's been in the economy for the last 2 years because of COVID. They got to take all that out.
Yep.
And remember, we've only started tightening. And if they start to reduce their balance sheet in any significant size, and the question is, are they going to be able to? But if they start to do that, you're going to see some more downward pressure in the markets.
Yeah. Now, I want to get this video out immediately after we're done recording it because I think right now we are seeing so many things. And just a quick search on DuckDuckGo under liquidity and hitting the news. Look at these headlines. Liquidity rules everything around me. South Korea and US agree to implement liquidity measures if needed. That means there's already problems. You see, China just boosted its bank liquidity by 843%,
Oh, those
adding
are great
further pressure on the
headlines.
yuan. This is
Yeah.
absolutely insane, isn't it?
Well, and I think it's the US dollar. So much money has been flowing back into the US dollar. And when that happens, you see the emerging markets really go haywire. And it's happened in the past, and you're probably starting to see the beginnings of that. You're starting to see as well Credit Suisse, whether they go belly up or not, who knows? But there's starting to be some fear in the markets around banks. That could be one of the reasons why the market's up today, because maybe they're thinking, well, if banks collapse, the Fed's going to have to step in. But the end of the day, this is not a good news story. The 2008 financial crisis, which I was heavily involved with during my Lakeshore days. I was chief financial officer of Lakeshore. I got to tell you, we were going from exploration to production, just like Galantas.
Yep.
And it was extraordinarily difficult to raise money when I was the CFO of Lakeshore.
Yeah.
And gold price went down, and it went down with the markets in general. But I got to tell you, when things turned around on the gold price, the gold equity significantly overperformed relative to the rest of the market. And I think you're going to see the same thing today.
Yes.
And we're just at the beginning. I'm hopeful that we're at the beginning of this uptrend in gold. And again, any of your listeners, Ninja, that see gold price go down or equities go down in a short-term blip, don't panic. Start nibbling in, because I really do think the precious metals are going to do quite well in this environment. And we're effectively in a physical war, a real war, and an economic war. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure the markets really appreciate that as yet.
No, I completely agree. So let's do a couple CYAs right now. First off, none of this interview is hosted by the Ninja, which is I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a financial professional, and none of this is a solicitation to buy or sell any equities in this. But Mario brings up a great point. The last time gold bottomed, it happened approximately 8 weeks after Lehman Brothers closed their doors. They collapsed, right? But coming into that, we saw pressure on gold and silver prices like we're seeing right now. Liquidity is an issue. So hedge funds, mutual funds, large institutional investors are selling off their protection, their insurance, their gold and silver contracts, and that's adding downward pressure to the price. But like Mario says, we don't know when this bottom is going to happen because it's different this time. And the reason why I think it's different is because people have 2008 still fresh in their memories. And right now we're seeing gold not really be that weak. Now, I want to actually share something real quick on the screen. First off, we're going to go to Galantas website. And of course, my, what is it called? The little drop-down box likes to block everything. So Galantas Gold is an Irish gold project, correct?
That is correct. It's in Northern Ireland, and we think we have one of the best exploration stories out there, coupled with production.
Yep. Now, something that sets Galantas apart is because it was an exploration company and is now turned into a producing company, but you're still drilling holes, right? You actually have some drill results that are going to be coming out in the next few weeks.
That's correct. And I think that's what really sets us apart. We are in production. It's going to be small scale mining. We're going to do it like the old timers did. We want to try and keep the capital structure as tight as possible, while at the same time, really demonstrate to the market that we have one of the best exploration stories out there. And the reason for that is, just 20 miles away from us is a world-class asset called Dalridian. And it's in Northern Ireland as well. It's held by a big private equity fund called Orion. And when they were sold in 2018, they had 6 million ounces at 13 grams. And that's unheard of. The ounces is big and the grade is big. Usually you don't get those together. And we're here, and it could be up to 10 million ounces today because they've continued to drill. But at the end of the day, our geology is very similar. We've been hitting similar holes. And in fact, our holes are getting better as we continue to drill this because we're now starting to understand the geology. We've been hitting things like 17 grams over 13 meters at Joshua. And you would have seen our most recent news release. We're starting to plans to develop towards Joshua so we can get some underground drill bays at Joshua. And it's not just one hole here. We've hit things like 7 meters of 31 grams, 4.5 meters of 30 grams. This is very consistent in these dilation zones. So this is what's making this into a really exciting story, I think.
Yeah. So one thing I want to share with people is I still believe that we still see some downward pressure on the price of precious metals, which could add pressure on the miners. And no mining company wants to hear that. But honestly, I made this investment last month, and this is why. Because I want to explain to people, and again, this is not a solicitation to buy or sell this. I want to explain to people and teach people these market fluctuations. In the last year, this stock has not done much. But actually, that's a good news because when its strongest price action was actually when gold was going down, as opposed to other mining companies in the exploration space, they were cratering in price. So Galantas was able to hold on to this price throughout the entire year. And then a month and a half ago, they went into a production phase. And that's what I like. So I'm like, here, I'm able to go from around the same price as an explorer to now a producing company. What do you think about that, Mario?
That's bang on. Our share price, I'm really happy to see our share price hold at these levels, relative to a lot of the other explorers and producers that have been hit quite hard. And again, it goes back to the nature of our shareholder base. And Ninja, I really appreciate your investment in the company. But in addition to yourself, we have people like Eric Sprott in the company, Mike Gentile. So we got some big shareholders behind this, and they participated in our last financing. I got to tell you, our ability to raise almost $7 million about a month and a half ago, speaks volumes for the potential I think a lot of people are seeing in the story. And again, we're in production, but the exploration upside is not going to go away. Typically in these kind of stories, you only have an exploration company or you have a company that's focused purely on production. But because we're doing this small scale, we have the resources to do both, which is drill, baby drill, as people like to say, as well as get some gold production out of here, which really should cause some excitement once we get these results out.
I completely agree. And that's why I wanted to bring this to the forefront of my subscribers, not because I think you should buy or sell it, but I'm telling you what I'm doing. So use me as a litmus test, like watch these companies because I am moving into an an asset class that is not liked right now. And like Mario said earlier today, he goes, it's been really hard to raise money in this environment. And it was also really hard to raise money in 2007, 2008. But then when it hit the bottom and took off on a multi-year tear to the upside, the price, the miners did exceptionally well. When you were at Lakeshore, what were the prices of mining equities doing once gold found its bottom and started ticking up?
Oh, look, a great example was with Lakeshore. When I first got involved and I had to raise $20 million because we were doing the same thing. We are going into production with some great drill results. It was extraordinarily difficult to find money. And we were probably trading at the time, maybe a $70, $80 million market cap. When Lakeshore was eventually sold to Tahoe Silver, it sold for $1.6 billion. Yeah. I mean, that gives you an idea of the potential economic value that could be created in these kind of great stories. And in Lakeshore, I'm almost following the Lakeshore model in many respects, because Lakeshore started small. Yeah. We didn't go into a full feasibility study. We didn't spend $50 million proving up every hole. We knew we had a good deposit. We're hitting some great results, just like we are at Galantas.
Yep.
And our thought was, let's get underground and start mining this, and we're going to learn more from mining. And you got to have a good deposit to do this, mind you, which we think we have. You can learn more from mining than you will just continuing to drill these 5-6 meter spacings that you would have to do to get a feasibility level study, or 10-meter spacing. So we're pretty excited with what we have at Galantas. And just like 2008, I think the precious metals are going to do well when this is all said and done. But I think the upside here is significantly higher than it was in 2008 and 2009 financial crisis, because then it was a liquidity crisis in the US. It was the mortgage issues, the bank issues. You may see some similar stuff here, but really what happened, and maybe I'm sure, Ninja, you remind your readers about this in the past, but really what happened in 2008, all the debt crisis moved from the consumer to the sovereigns, i.e. the governments. And now it's coming to head. I mean, the US has got $9 trillion on its balance sheet. Add in all the European economies, the Eastern blocs and a lot of the developing world don't have the same level of debt as the Western world does, which is mind-boggling to think about. It should be the other way around. Yeah. And then you add on top of that war and what's happening in Europe. If things go bad, and look, we really hope it doesn't, but if things go bad, I really do see precious metal greatly outperforming everything it would have done in 2008, 2009. That's just my view. And that's why I'm heavily invested in precious metals.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. And again, guys, I do not think we've seen just the bottom shakeout, the last bit of panic in the markets, but I believe that we are in the season right now. In the next 12 months, in my personal opinion, I think we're going to find that bottom. And when we do, and like I just told you, it didn't hold me back from making my initial investment and then moving forward with my other investments as we shake this market out. I think it's going to be very exciting for gold. Mario, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate it, Ninja, as well. Anytime, I love to come
Awesome. On. Guys, I'll put a link down below to Galantas' website if you want to take a look at it. Again, not a solicitation buy or sell. I'm just letting you guys know what I do. I want to lead by example, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing in real time. All right, guys, that being said, the Economic Ninja is out.